Good evening everybody, this is Stephen Howson, this is Full Time Devils, and this is tomorrow's Transfers Today, a video where we take a look at tomorrow's headlines and let you know what's going to be going on with them, so you don't even have to bother getting up in the morning to find out what is going on in the world of transfers with Manchester United. Now the first one that we are going to talk about today is Anthony Martial, Tony Marshall, that guy. This is in the Metro. There's a little bit of drama about it, but there is some quotes from Marshall, and it's about time someone's actually listening to what the guy says while they're creating all these bullshit rumours. The guy's talking about staying at Manchester United, he's talking about playing, he wants to play the most, he wants to stay and win titles, he's all about winning medals and trophies and this, that and the other. Great, that's what it should be about, and that's what Anthony Marshall is all about. And yes, it is in a Metro, and they're saying he's staying, and listen to what the guy says. Listen to all the times over the summer that he's like, listen, don't believe these rumours, I'm going nowhere. The fact that he's got cousins and uncles and family members all over the gaff that are coming out and saying he's going nowhere, he wants to stay at Manchester United. Do you know why? There's probably a little bit of truth to that. I don't think it's ever been in doubt that Marshall was staying. I think there was maybe some effort from Inter Milan to make him part of the deal with Perisic, but United told him, well, go sling it. Happy days. The next one that we've got is Thomas Lemar. Now, Duncan Castles, when he speaks, you have to pay attention to it. And when he's talking about a transfer, I guess it's what Jose Mourinho wants out there. Whether or not that is the truth, whether or not that transfer eventually comes off, he is Jose Mourinho's mouthpiece. So when he says something, it's usually worth having a listen to. Now, Lemar got 14 goals and 17 assists last season, so he's not quite a Perisic constant assister. He is a little bit more of a hybrid, but for those that have been claiming that Tony Marshall's place would be under threat by Perisic coming in, who's an entirely different footballer, he would definitely be under threat by Thomas Lemar coming in. I think he's an excellent footballer, but he's in that sort of age where he would actually affect the development of Rashford and of Anthony Marshall. He does assist, but he also comes in for himself as well, scoring goals. Excellent footballer. For the price that's been quoted, mega, but that's going to lead to maybe an overabundance of options of a certain age group in a certain position. And you know what? Maybe I'd like to see us go as we are, to be honest. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this one develops. Whether or not there's anything going to be happening. As I said last night, like there's talk that we was in for a fourth signing, and now that seems to have been parked, and everyone assuming that was Perisic, but that could have been a left back, it could have been a left winger, it could have been a right back. It seems like United are in for more than just the transfers on the face of it that we're interested in. So it is going to be interesting to see how this one develops. Luke Shaw, the last line of that report in the Daily Record says, the Portuguese, talking about Mourinho, wants to sign a starting left back of Champions League quality and would consider selling England international Luke Shaw to fund the deal. Then in I think it was the Mail, let me just get it up. It was in the Times, the Times Sport, on the back page, Dickinson has put new deal, it was Paul Hurst, new deal for Luke Shaw, and they're saying that Luke Shaw, even though he's not back in the first team just yet, he's going to be getting a new deal from Manchester United. So I think no one has an idea what's going on here. I think it's interesting that Luke Shaw is going to be in line for a new deal if this is correct, and we haven't signed anyone. That means that Jose Mourinho is definitely putting some sort of faith into him, because this left-back position is the only obvious weak spot for United at the moment, and it's the only one where we've not really managed to bring anybody in for, and it's the one with all these question marks over. Is Demi Mitchell going to be given an opportunity? Is he good enough if given an opportunity? Is Luke Shaw going to be allowed to come back, and is he going to get the patience if he comes back? I think this might be useful for United to really utilise the under-23 squad, of which Luke Shaw is still eligible, to get him back to game fitness. Mourinho doesn't do this a lot, but I would like to see him use the under-23s for this purpose, because he's not going to get the required game time in the first team that Jose Mourinho wants him to have, and have the confidence in him to be able to throw him in against, like, say, an Everton or an Arsenal or somebody like that. He's going to want him to just be ready, and he's going to need to be at almost match fitness before he throws him in. So this is where I do want to see Jose Mourinho actually use the under-23 squad for what it should be there for, which is, one, development of youngsters, of which Luke Shaw still comes under that category, and two, getting match fitness for those that are coming back into the first team. Last season we saw him not wanting to play players, not wanting to utilise that under-23 squad, and then saying that some players weren't ready to come into the first team. Schneiderlin, Memphis, Schweinsteiger, but they wasn't allowed the opportunities to go and play in the under-23s. I think that's the one criticism that I can have of Jose Mourinho last season, and this one might be an ideal place for him to get Luke Shaw back into the mix, I reckon, this season. The Daily Perisic update, the Mail saying Jose still wants him. Maybe he does, but it's clear that the clubs can't do any sort of deal, I don't think, at the moment, so I don't think there's going to be much happening with that one. There's another ex-Red that's off to the Kerala Blasters over in India, and that's Paul Chubka, a former keeper that was with the academy. Rennie Mullenstein is building a little mini Manchester over there in Kerala, which looks like a beautiful part of the world, by the way. I would love to go out there and check out what's going on with Indian football. For my channel, I do a lot of going out and checking games like that. This is a place that no one really talks about what's going on with football. I would love to go and check that one out. And it sounds like Dimitar Berbatov might be going joining them as well. So this really could be interesting with what's going on down there in India. I have no idea how good this team is. I have no idea what the ranking of all those is, which is going to be interesting to see once the season kicks off. I believe it's a shorter season than in England, so it is going to be fun to check out what's going on. Right, we did our podcast tonight for Full Time Devils and XS Manchester. If you listened live or you phoned us up, thank you for joining in. You can check out the video of that out tomorrow morning, and we would appreciate you all giving that a big fat share, bit of love, because it's a really fun video. It's something different that we're not really doing on this channel, where we're doing real long form content like that, and it's a great collaboration that we're doing with XS Manchester. So please show that video some support. Get in the comments on that video tomorrow when that goes live some point tomorrow morning, and let us know who you want to see with guests, because we're going to start bringing some banging guests in, but we want to know who you want to hear from. Who do you want to sit down there with an hour and talk to us? Do you want like Tony Park, the youth historian, in there? Do you want more of Webby? Do you want more of Gaz? Do you want more of me? Let us know in the comments, and we will try and hook it up. Well, let's see what you guys are saying tonight. We have a great squad, so let's keep coming on, says Clinton. How long is the video? Tomorrow's video, I imagine around about 40 minutes or so. We do an hour, but there's like weather and traffic reports and stuff, which we take out of, obviously. You don't need to be knowing the weather and traffic and stuff like that. So it's about an hour in the end. Cheeky Sport in the podcast, come on, says Clinton. That's a great idea, mate. Get rid of Webby. How about we get rid of you? City in for Johnny Evans. I'll piss myself. I think we are good to challenge for the title this year, says Mohammed. I agree, my mate. I definitely agree. A lot of people asking for Draxler. Draxler suits Jose Mourinho's sort of signing thingy, doesn't he? He's what is he? 6'2", 6'3"? He's a big lad for a winger. I'll put it that way. So Draxler, if he's available, would be a decent option, I think. Yeah. Jose won't sign again. Well, I'm sure he will at some point. I'm pulling for Luke Shaw to come back strong, says Donnell. I agree, mate. I think Luke Shaw has really got the potential to go and do anything he wants in the game. I think he's fantastic, but he definitely needs to be given the opportunity to get back to the level he was at. Draxler won't work, says Shax. What, is he going on strike? What would be my dream Champions League group draw? When is the draw, actually? It's soon, isn't it? I wouldn't mind Juventus as our pot A team or pot 1 team. I don't know. I want to test myself against the best teams in Europe. Whenever United have done well, we've done it the hard way. So I don't want to avoid anyone. Bring them all on. I want to see Forsberg, says Thomas. August 24th is the comment from everybody. I'm assuming that's talking about the Champions League draw. Who do I think for PFA transfer window reform? I'm not a fan of it unless the rest of Europe comes in line with it. Me and Webby was talking about this earlier, and we didn't actually really mention it on the podcast, which you'll see, so I might as well talk about that, because we was going to talk about it on there, but we didn't. And that was when we was growing up. Obviously, Webby was growing up in black and white, but when we was growing up, transfer window was open till like the 3rd week in March, and there was still a panic on the last day. Like, oh, we're going to have enough in the squad for the last 6 weeks of the season, which seems nuts now of a way to do it. I really liked it back then. That was awesome. But I guess for competition registrations and all the rest of it, it makes a little bit more sense to do it with the 2 windows. But do you know what? If we was going to reform it, I'd reform it completely and just have it open like it used to be. I think that was great. I think that was an excellent way of doing it. What about the Griezmann saga coming up again? Well, that sort of, it didn't really come up, did it? It was sort of reported the other night, but again, nothing. Score predictions against Swansea. I'm going for 2-0. I'm looking forward to the game on Swansea. I think another good performance, and there's going to be a bit of a bandwagon about United getting going again. Does FFP even function? I don't think so, mate. I don't think so. I think it's just lip service to it, isn't it? Banter when we signed him on deadline day. Who are we talking about there? Oh, Lemar. I would love to get Lemar just to piss off the Arsenal fans. Anything pisses off the Arsenal fans, doesn't it? Let's face it. Metro reporting United are in for Howson. I wouldn't believe a word of that. Andy Tate, 45-minute rant on the podcast. I'm not even sure Andy Tate could do a 45-minute rant, man. A lot of confident Reds, but no one thinking that we're going to get a clean sheet. We've got 3-1, 4-1, 2-1. Realistically, do I think anyone else will be leaving before the window ends? Maybe Young, for example. Yeah, I think there's probably going to be some movement before the end of the window, especially with some of the under-23s, which I'm quite surprised that there hasn't been any movement on. So, do I think anyone will be able to surpass the Neymar fee? Not this window. I'd be shocked if there's anybody this window, but look at Pogba last summer, look at Ronaldo's. These transfer records aren't staying around for long, and now I know the jump from 89 million with Pogba to 225 million with Neymar. But is Neymar the world record transfer fee? I'm not sure he is. I'm not sure that he is, because it looks like they give him the money to pay out his fee, and then he kept a massive portion of that as a signing on fee. Is he the world's most expensive transfer, or is he the world's highest paid sponsor or ambassador, and he bought himself out of the contract? Now, PSG can't have it both ways. PSG can't have it the way that they get around financial fair play by giving him the money and then claiming that he's the highest transfer in the world. It don't work like that. He's either the craziest free transfer that we've ever seen, or he's the highest transfer in the world, in which case then he comes under FFP, allegedly. So it's a strange one, that, isn't it? But I don't think it'll be surpassed. I think that you'll see a transfer over 100 million for Mbappe if he moves, although it looks like that's being cooled as well. I don't know, man. I don't know. Jose needs to play Herrera and Marshall is a comment. Neymar is a free agent, says out of luck. I love how Mourinho changed his character, like playing youngsters and giving most players a chance, possibly. Minimum 2 trophies this season, nothing less. Well, I would put it to you that if we won the Premier League, pretty much every United fan would be happy with that. So that would be less than 2 trophies, and I would be happy with that, to be honest. Being reported that we will be renewing Shaw's contract. I did mention that. Messi will move. Do you honestly think so? Obviously, tragic events that have happened in Barcelona, but on the football side of things in Barcelona, I kind of think that they're getting what they deserve. The way they hounded out Luis Enrique, who was statistically a better manager than Guardiola in terms of win percentage. The way they hounded out a guy that's won them a treble. Can you even imagine hounding out... It doesn't sit right with me when clubs have hounded out managers like Ranieri last season. When they hound out a manager who's won them the title, who the hell do you think you are? Like, I remember when United won the title in 1993, my dad said to me, Fergie can stay forever now because he's won the league. And I didn't understand what that meant at the time. And it's just something that's always stuck me. You can't sack a guy that's won a league for you. And Barcelona hounded out a guy with a 76% win ratio, which is utterly ridiculous. He's won them a treble and they got rid of him. So Barcelona, the most spoilt slapped-ass fans in football. Unbelievable. And maybe they are getting their comeuppance. And if Messi left as well, I don't think he will, but if he left as well, that's the end of them, isn't it? Let's face it. Barcelona looking terrible. Well, yeah, I mean, they get a guy in who's not as good as the guy that they got sacked. So, it's nuts, isn't it? Someone's saying this is a United channel, fuck Barcelona. Well, yeah, but I think it's relevant. This is a football channel at the end of the day, and Barcelona are a big part of that. And I think that when we're talking about where we stand in world football, I said yesterday I wouldn't be gutted if we got Barcelona in a knockout stage, because I can see us getting through them because we've got a better manager, and sometimes a better tactical team can get through teams. Now, I think on paper that Barcelona team is way better than ours, but I think we can still get through them if we draw them in the Champions League. They're a team that we could face in the Champions League. I think it's worth talking about. Is the Stephen Elson podcast coming back? Yes, it was meant to have been back tonight. I had to come home and go to bed because I felt proper rough. So it was down for tonight, but it got canned. It'll be back next week. Valverde is Moyes at Barcelona. That's a great shout, mate. Messi to United equals treble. I can't see us getting him. Do I think Mourinho can last more than 3 years? Nah, we constantly have this chat with all the full-time Devils lads, and there's no consensus between us. We all think different things. I'm worried that he's staying at the hotel, but I also see the positives of him staying at the hotel. It's just weird, isn't it? It's just weird that you don't think that... I couldn't imagine planning 10 years of my life with me living in a hotel as part of that 10 years. I think it's strange. And I would like to see him... move into somewhere. When will Angel Gomez be ready for the first team? Ability-wise, he's ready now. Physical-wise, I don't know. A couple of years, I would think. Positives at a hotel. Well, okay, since you asked. Manchester United are always on the road, aren't we? We have 2 games a week quite often. So you're either staying in the hotel anyway, because the whole team stays in the hotel the night before a game when we're at home. So there's potentially 2 nights in a hotel. Now, if you've got an away game and a home game, the away game might be 2 nights in a hotel somewhere on the other side. So you're looking at least 3 nights in a hotel anyway there. Now, with a bit more travelling, that could easily lead to 4 nights in a hotel. And if you're already living in the hotel, and let's face it, this isn't, a bed sit that he's in. He's in a hotel suite that is bigger and more luxurious than any house I am ever going to own. It's an unbelievable suite. He hasn't got to worry about his laundry because someone's picking up and doing that. He hasn't got to worry about his cooking because he's got a 5-star hotel restaurant right underneath him that I'm sure will be doing banging room service for him, and United are picking up the tab for that. His assistants are all in the hotel, so he can be completely focusing on work all the time. And the players are coming round to his house essentially to come and stay over every couple of nights. So there's a few positives in that sense, I think, to staying at the hotel, and the fact that you are pretty much on the move as a footballer pretty much constantly anyway. He might as well do that. And the other one is, the main one I think is that the social side of stuff, that his coaches are all in the hotel anyway. I think that's a huge one, and there's a couple of players that are in there. So I think there is a few positives to him being in the hotel. It's not as negative as it seems on the face of things, but I do think it is a slight negative to worry about, because I couldn't imagine people living in a hotel for 10 years or something, could you? And ultimately that's what we really want. We don't want to have a new manager every 3 years. I would like to see someone try and build a dynasty again. Now, whether that's unrealistic or not, I don't care. As a football fan, you are unrealistic, aren't you? As I said on the podcast today, every single season I think United are going to win the league. Now, I'm more often wrong than I'm right. But that's a football fan. You have to think you're going to win the league, otherwise what are you doing? You have to think that you're going to be success, otherwise what are you doing? That's, the unrealistic romantic side of being a football fan, isn't it? That we're all a little bit blind sometimes to what's going on in our club. To be fair to Jose, he's always been known for his crazy preparation and attention to detail. Maybe the hotel surround him help him focus. Yeah, if he's got his assistant next door and the other coaches just down the road, they can sit in the hotel bar till midnight every night, can't they? Not necessarily drinking, but talking shop in a bit more of a relaxed environment than the office, or down at Carrington, where maybe it's got a different vibe. any youth players to break into the team this season. The only one I can think of is Matty Willock, who I think was really unfortunate to not get a debut last year. I'd be surprised if any more do, to be honest. If United win a treble, go bald or shave, I'll do both. It's not happening. I'll do both. Let's do it. Right, I think that'll do us. We are going for 500k this season. If we get 600k before the end of the season, Adam's got to dye his beard red and go into Anfield with it. So let's make that happen. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you check out the podcast in the morning, because I definitely think that you're going to enjoy that one. And let's get a little bit of a cult following for the podcast. Get in the comments. We'll get in the comments and chat to you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in a bit.